Hello YouTube, Zippo enthusiast down under here, and today I'm going to be looking at brass Zippo lighters and the cost involved with them. A funny little fact about Zippos is that they're all the modern day ones are made out of brass, and the brass ones, for some reason that I don't really understand, is that any of the plain brass finish lighters that have no extra paint or coating or whatever on them more expensive than a lot of the ones that do have like a paint or like a matte finish, the chrome plating, stuff like that. Typically you can find most painted Zippos or chromed ones, for $30, something like that. This one here, actually not even a fan of this design. It's black matte. It's got like a little raised kind of stickery edge, like I can feel that over it. But you can see it's made out of brass. It looks tumbled or something on the bottom. Not too worried about that. But also down inside the lid, it's definitely made out of brass. So this was actually $26. And most of the brass ones sell for about $50 to $70, depending on whether you're getting brushed or high polish. Prices do vary wherever you go, so I do recommend anyone that's interested in buying Zippos, you do some shopping around, because you can find better deals in some places than others, just like anything else really. But this is a brass lighter with a finish on it. $26. It's $20 to $30, $40 cheaper than most places selling the plain brass finishes. So what I'm going to be doing with this is stripping the coating off to make it a plain brass lighter. Just for anyone that's interested in getting a brass but doesn't want to pay that sort of double price over the painteds or the chrome finishes, like not double but almost double, So what I've got here is some acetone, Belchan. I'm gonna not do this on video, but actually managed to pick up some Australian made stuff too, which is a bonus. And it's good for cleaning, removing a cleaner, remover suitable for the removal of glues, resins, fiberglass resins, ink, paint, adhesives, and contact cement. So paint, that's what we're looking at removing off this one. What I am going to do is I'm going to grab a small plastic container that's not much bigger than this. I'm just going to sit it down in there, cover it with this. I'm going to let it soak completely. So I'm going to have the acetone up above the height of the lighter in the container. And I will cut out of the video and I'll cut back in when I've removed the paint and let you guys see what it looks like. So I'll be back shortly. All right, guys, I'm back. I did spend about 12 hours soaking this and probably 30 minutes removing the paint. This is the end result. It's not perfect. This was my first attempt at it. What I actually had done was tried to use a toothpick to lift off the paint on the front of it. Now, it has left some marks on the front in the brass, and because of that, I had tried to sort of polish the marking out of it. It didn't really work as well as I would have liked. What it also did was it sort of dulled the tumbled brass finish that this has. So you can see on the side it's got that, almost looks kind of like galvanized steel but brass or something like that. It's also on the lid, areas where I haven't polished it, the side, the bottom. But I did end up polishing the front and the back and realizing that it had taken away that sort of finish. So don't do that. Don't pick it with the toothpick. Probably let it sit for more than 12 hours. The paint goes to this kind of, it's kind of like removing plastidip, where you can peel it in pieces. What I found was effective after trying it a few different ways was, if you remember at the start of the video, you can see the brass. The paint doesn't cover the bottom of this completely, so you're best off to start at the bottom, lift the little edges of paint with a toothpick or something similar. Obviously something not too hard and not too sharp. The wood was kind of okay except for the face, but you can get it started, lift it off a little bit, enough to grab with your fingers, and you can peel it away in pieces. If it does rip, you can sort of use your thumb on the where the brass is and the edge of the paint and sort of roll it or peel it back, I guess, and enough to grab it and peel it off again. The only place that you will need something, a toothpick I'd probably recommend, just like what I used, is around the hinge to get into the small little areas where peeling it off, it does leave some behind. And I use my fingernail just to sort of scrape along the inside edges of the lid and the bottom part of the case, like those edges there, where they still had some of the paint on it. Also, before you start, take your insert out. I don't know what the acetone will do to the wick, the flint, the cotton, and the felt on the bottom, but it's unnecessary for it to be in there, so just take it out. Don't drop that in the acetone. A little fact about this too is, I'm not sure on the year or when this happened, but like the earlier kind of brass lighters that were sold without any finish on the brass other than the protective coating did come with the chrome inserts. And they did come with this style bottom stamp where it's like a canned, they refer to it as canned, but the stamps on this piece that's sort of recessed in from the rest of the case, unlike I have an example here of another brass one I have, it's flat. It doesn't have that edge around it. So that's what you would get normally. This is what you get on the painted finish ones. But it is like a retro sort of style, I guess, and I like that. I do like the tumbled brass. I kind of wish that I had have not polished it, not scuffed up the front, but that's okay. I am going to have another go at this. This one here, also because the brass lighters come with a protective coating on them. This one does not, because the paint on it is its protective coating. Now that it's gone, this is going to tarnish up quite quickly, and it will eventually sort of start to look like this, how it's really dull on the edges. Wherever it sort of gets scratched, it dulls down. It changes to like a lighter color and a darker color in some spots, depending. That will be unique to everyone and how they handle it. But that's what's going to happen to this. I'm sort of interested to see how that affects the finish with like the brass, the tumbled brass finish. So I'm just going to let that go. But the next one I do, where I'm not going to use a toothpick and scuff it up, I will be putting a protective coating on it. This is just some clear lacquer for brass and copper. It's supposed to protect it against corrosion and tarnishing. You don't need a primer or a top coat. It's supposed to be long lasting and will leave a non-tarnishing finish, so the product itself shouldn't tarnish the brass, nor should it let it get tarnished. This is an aerosol, so I'm just kind of going to spray it on a couple of light coats. I will try and follow the directions it has on the back, because obviously that's what's going to be best. But after I remove the paint, I will be putting some sort of like a prep wash or a surface cleaner on it. I'll be wearing some rubber gloves so I don't get oils from my fingers on it, because that will stop it from sticking. It might not stop it from sticking, but it will leave something underneath that may tarnish the brass underneath the coating. So that's something to avoid. So yeah, guys, that's about it for the process. All I really have to say is using the acetone, disposing of this stuff, don't just tip it down the sink out of your container. Try to get something that's at least 99% strength. Like, it does come in varying strengths. 100% would be better. Like, it still took a while. My next one I'm going to leave for about 24 hours so that I have less difficulty removing the paint. But what you can do is just grab a piece of paper towel or something, put it in your container, soak it up. It's going to dry up eventually, but just chuck it in the bin. Don't tip it down the sink. It won't be good for the plumbing. or the plastic piping or whatever you've got underneath your sink. You don't want it really getting in any sort of waterways anywhere, so paper towel, soak it up, throw it in the bin. Best way to dispose of it. So that was just my little tutorial on how to save some money on a brass Zippo. I will say I have seen other videos where people do the same thing. They strip the coating off. I have seen ones that have got like the high polish finish underneath, which also looks really good. But I ended up with the tumbled, and I guess you'll be able to tell as soon as you see the metal underneath where the paint doesn't cover it before you do the process. So you'll know, it won't be a surprise. That's the way to know, but I suppose you won't know until you receive it and see that for yourself, depending on where you get it from, unless you buy it from like a smoke shop or something and you're able to handle it and have a look before you do it. But I guess this would suit someone that's either looking for that sort of retro look with the chrome insert and the canned bottom, or someone who's just going to use it every day, is not worried about the finish, whether it's like a tumbled or high polish, or whether they're worried about having the clear coating on it, or if someone does want to get a brass that is going to tarnish quickly. Because I did this last night. I put it in the acetone yesterday at around 11 o'clock. Last night at about 11 p.m. I was peeling all the paint off, and I've sort of only got around to doing this again tonight, earlier in the evening though. And it has got some change in the, you can kind of see it's dulling up in a few spots already, so this will tarnish very quickly. I will compare this to the one that I do that I put the clear coat on, just to sort of show you how quick this will tarnish. I'll give you a time frame of how it's sort of lasted, and I will follow up on the one that I do put the coating on, as well as with this one at the same time, and let you know how this is holding up. In the future, I am going to be putting this on another brass lighter where I want to see how it holds up for everyday use, because the one I do put it on the other tumbled that I'm going to strip the paint off, that will strictly be staying in my collection. I won't be handling it and stuff like that. So I will let you know how that clear coating goes. And I may also do a video on polishing up some older tarnished ones and putting a clear coating on them to see how they hold up. But that's it for this video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys found it informative. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. Any comments, suggestions, questions, requests, they're more than welcome. Leave them down in the comment section. I may get back to you either by a message response, or I could respond with a video response, showing you guys whatever it is that you're questioning about. Any questions, anything Zippo related at all, more than happy to help everyone out. That's kind of what I'm here for. And if you want to see the videos that I've got to bring out in the near future, make sure you subscribe to the channel to catch those. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.